Hi chess fans, in this video we will look at the game between Lasker with white and José Raúl Capablanca with black. Capablanca won this game. It was played in Moscow in 1936. So let's have a look. Lasker plays e4, c5, knight f3, knight c6, d4, c takes d, knight takes, knight f6, knight c3, d6, bishop e2, bishop d7, bishop e3, e6, d2, a6, f4, queen c7, knight b3, b5, bishop f3. So we have a Sicilian here with a little bit of a funny setup maybe for white. The bishop can go to f3, but somehow it looks a bit wrong. Rook to b8, knight e2. Also, I'm saying it looks wrong, of course, it's probably not wrong, but it's just if you look at some games of today's chess, you somehow don't see white setups like this. For example, it's funny that white didn't castle yet, neither short nor long. But let's have a look. Bishop e7, castles, knight g3. And now maybe question number one of this video. Why did Lasker lose a little bit his advantage with white? And if you put this in an engine now, it actually says the position changed over the last few moves from an advantage for white of about half a pawn to just an equal position. So why did Capablanca equalize in this position? Okay, the reason is that all these pieces here, they're kind of blocking each other. So normally in a position like this, you would want to do some plans with maybe a pawn push, and the knight is now blocking this. The bishops, don't really look at the king. So they should be over here to actually look at the king and participate in the attack. Okay, they can also look at this side at the same time, so maybe they are more flexible. But really, what is white doing here on this side? White should play only on the king side and attack, and this flexibility is not really an asset for white on either of the king or of the queen side. And lastly, the queen and the rook, because of this pawn structure, they are very hard to activate and bring into this game. And also this knight here does not have like a clear path to participate in the attack. And it can also be subject to an attack here by black. So we can say that white with this setup has given up his opening advantage. Okay, black continued with a5, knight to d4, a4, black takes some space on the queen side, rook a1, rook fc8, bringing the rook to the open file, creating a little bit this motif of the weak pawn on c2. Lasker played rook to f2 to protect it. And now Capablanca played knight to e8. Okay, check out this move. Question number 2 of this video. What is the purpose of this move? Okay, so this is actually very, very interesting, because I don't know, if I had played a tournament game here, I would maybe thought about pushing the pawn. Excuse me. I would have thought about pushing the pawn, or maybe doing some attack here on the queen side. But knight to e8 is actually a prophylactic move against white plans without committing to anything yet. And as we will see later in the game, this move is intended against f5 because it allows black to respond to f5 by moving the pawn forward and controlling the square f6 so the pawn cannot continue pushing forward. So that's the purpose of the move knight e8, and it's also a flexible move because it doesn't commit black's pawn structure in any way. It defends some squares on the king side and it keeps the knight on the flexible square. It's also not blocking any development of black's pieces. Okay. Lasker took the knight, bishop takes, and Lasker played f5. The reason is that in this position, with this piece setup, white really only has the plans to play e5 or f5. And training question number 3, just a quick check, why can Lasker with white not play e5 here? Well, because of bishop takes f3, and if rook takes, black has this weakness here on c2. And if pawn takes, then white is ruining his pawn structure here, totally blockades any attack, because now these pieces are all blocking each other even more, and black is better here. Okay, so white really only has f5, and now we will see why this move knight to e8 was against the move f5. Because black now plays e5, and what this does is it fixes this pawn structure here, which blocks white attack, and black can play f6 later and maybe play against this weakness here, the weakness here and this weakness here. And after knight h5, training question number 4, what is black's main plan here now? Okay, after committing to this pawn structure here, black's plan in this position now is to play d5. And as we will see, Capablanca with the next moves, prepares exactly for this plan. Queen to b7 takes control of the d5 square and prepares d5. Bishop to g5. Lasker really tries to bring his pieces in here somehow, maybe to exchange this bishop to get some play against this d6 pawn. But again, the knight is so perfect here, attacking any weakness here, controlling this square here, and also protecting this pawn. So really, when Capablanca played knight to e8, he really had this pawn structure and setup in mind. I really want to go back again because it's so interesting. In this position here, Capablanca chose not to push and do an attack, but to play this prophylactic move, knowing that because of this piece setup, Lasker only had the 2 plans of e5 and f5, and because e5 never works, Capablanca was basically saying, okay, so how can I play against white's only plan, f5? Okay, now f6 closes the structure here, and really there's very few counterplay now with white. The only thing the bishop can do is go back to e3. And now the knight has fulfilled its purpose and prepares pushing the d5 pawn as well. Queen d1, it's hard for me to see the purpose of this move. Maybe the plan is to move the rook and to get some play against the pawn together with the rook and the queen. But we can already see it's so easy for black to protect this. It's not really a plan really. And now, in addition to this, Capablanca played also rook d8, of course, also to prepare this push. Rook to d2, kind of playing against this push. And black has the time to move the king away from any checks. a3, both sides play a few waiting moves. The rook gets improved a little bit. Bishop gets improved maybe a little bit. And now Capablanca played d5. Okay, question number 6. What position advantage will black gain with this move? Okay, there's two possibilities here. What was played in the game is d5, but let's, before that, have a look at something like knight g3 that improves the knight maybe a little bit. Black is threatening to push this pawn forward and gaining the position advantage of protected passed pawn and control of a lot of space here on the queen side. So by playing pawn to d5, black threatens to create this protected passed pawn. So white takes, but what we can see now is black now also has a protected passed pawn here. So in effect, it's very interesting because this looks like a weakness, but if black ever manages to push this pawn forward, he gets a passed pawn either by pushing this pawn forward even one step further, or by an exchange, and then this pawn becomes a passed pawn. So very interesting how all the pieces are really aiming at pushing this pawn forward, and how white is not able to play against this, and how Capablanca transforms this into a positional advantage. What we see now is a big exchange of pieces, threatening a little mate here, but the queen is ready to protect after bishop c5. And that's really all that white has here in terms of kingside attack. So doubling the rooks, and all the pieces get exchanged. Okay, question number 7 in this video. Why was Capablanca so happy to exchange all the pieces? Have a look at this position and pause your video to think about this question. Okay, Capablanca was so happy to exchange all these pieces simply because this knight is very bad. This queen is maybe a little bit less active than this queen, but black has a few assets here in this position. The knight is bad, and black has the protected passed pawn, and most importantly, in a queen's endgame, the king safety is very important. While black's king is safely tucked away here and the queen really has to work a little bit to get in there, white's king is very, very exposed, especially with the bishop and the queen ready to move, and together with the bishop controlling a lot of diagonals here. So black was so happy to exchange all these pieces because here really it's now an endgame, and black has a few very clear assets. The bad knight, and this pawn maybe can also become a weakness, and the strong bishop and the exposed king. Actually, the best move in this position now would probably be to tuck the king away, even though other problems will arise. White instead tried to activate maybe the only resources that white has in this position, but this move allowed black to play queen to a7, and this move is so strong because it denies the square g1 to the king. So this is obviously a check, but the king has to move towards the center and cannot be tucked away. And with this move, Capablanca accentuates the resource and that he had in the position and exposes the king even further. So now black has the resource of the passed pawn, the bad knight, and the exposed king. Okay, bishop c4, the pain continues. The king gets exposed. Queen a8, taking control of the back rank weakness while checking at the same time. King f2, queen e8. Now Lasker played queen c3. Okay, this looks a bit funny. Why would the queen move away to a more passive square? Question number 8 in this video. White could have maybe played, when I looked at the position, I was thinking, why does white not kick this bishop away and somehow make these 3 against 2 pawns moving? Question number 8, why would this be a mistake, and what did black actually threaten with this king move? Okay, the threat was a mating attack. Queen d4 check, and if the king moves up, it's a certain death in a lot of ways, because the bishop just comes up, and we get a passer here. And if the king goes down, then we have a mating attack like this. So Lasker has to bring his queen to a more passive square to meet this threat and take control of the d4 square. So black continues having all the assets and now activates the queen, taking away all the squares from the king and also attacking the knight at the same time. It's just so beautiful to see how black is so much better in this endgame and how Capablanca uses all these resources. Okay, knight g3 and h6. Really quick question, number 9. What is the purpose of this move? Okay, the purpose of this move is to take away any back rank tricks. So if white somehow try to threaten something here, now there is no tricks anymore, there is no back rank weakness. And the only thing that could happen is maybe some perpetual check here on the white squares, but black also has the light squared bishop to control all these weaknesses. So this move basically, I mean, in a position like this, you could think about a lot of active moves that black could do to continue his attack, but Capablanca just very cool says, okay, all my resources are static. I have my passed pawn, I have the bishop, black has this weakness here, I have the exposed king. All of this is permanent weaknesses, and I'm just gonna eliminate all of white's counterplay. Okay, now it's very interesting to see how this ending continued. b3, a takes, c takes, bishop takes. Look at the nice coordination of the pieces here. Knight f1, queen b1, attacking the weakness. White has to play g4, and with this rearranging of pieces, you can again see how nicely these pieces coordinate and how shattered black's position is in contrast. Yeah. Okay. knight to e3. Okay, question number 10 of this video. It looks like white will exchange the bishop. And if black allows that, what does black get in return? Okay, black can allow this exchange and in return get all these pawns. White is happy to grab the exchanging to exchange away the strong bishop, and now in return for that, black first takes this pawn and brings the queen on the diagonal, and now white's only plan really is to push this pawn forward, and black uses this time to gobble up all these pawns. And this ending is obviously totally won. And just two quick bonus questions. Why can white not take here? Because this would win the pawn. Okay, little trick, queen a3. And now the bonus question after king h7. Lasker with white resigned. I mean, look at all these pawns. And just to underline the beauty of this position, what is black's winning plan? And it's really so simple, like, you know, when you play a blitz game and you are having a very simple plan to mate. It's a little bit like this in this position. Black now has a very beautiful easy play, and the last bonus question for this video, what is this very simple plan and why does white not have any counterplay at all? Okay, the simple plan is to move this pawn forward and mate. And why this is interesting is because first of all, white does not have enough time to start anything here because he doesn't have any checks. This queen doesn't give check here, and with this check black has the very nice resource of f5, coordination between the pawn and the queen. And at the same time, this pawn here takes away this check, and at the same time the queen cannot move in here for any checks. So little bonus question just to see. I mean, this was actually a position played on the board, and in this position here Capablanca plays the very cool king h7, finishing off this nice game against Lasker, who was one of the strongest players at the time. Okay, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and learned a lot.